Ugly.
Five.
Who are the best and who are the worst NFL teams? It's Mike Gill's Fine Five and Ugly Five on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's football station.
That's right. South Jersey's home for Thursday night football tomorrow night. We've got it for you here. Sunday night, Monday night, Eagles football. The Fine Five, Ugly Five. These are the 5 best and the 5 worst teams. We'll start with the 5 worst. Who is the 5th worst team right now in the NFL?
The Ravens. That loss was embarrassing. Joe Flacco had 28 yards passing, 2 interceptions. I don't even know if the guy's healthy. Anybody else would have been better than that.
You lose 44-7. That's at least under consideration.
To the Jaguars.
That's bad.
The Jaguars beat the Texans already.
I don't care.
The Texans almost beat the Patriots. So the Ravens...
Tom Savage played quarterback to start
Ravens have had more injuries in the last 3 years than I've had in my entire life. So for that case, they're not in the top. They're not in the Ugly Five yet.
That's saying something.
My number 5 team in the Ugly Five is the Colts. Yes, you won, but the only team you've beaten is the Browns.
Huh.
Yeah.
Explanation enough.
Yeah. I've got Cincinnati. They've been horrible. Then they finally have a shot to win a game against a good team, mind you.
And they choke.
And totally redeem themselves as a lousy team.
Did you hear Tony Romo say that after those 20 script plays, Andy Dalton was in trouble, and indeed he got in trouble?
Romo blasted Dalton. Did you hear that? I mean, he
The
blasted
whole
him. Cincinnati is that team just seems like a team that the wheels are going to start falling off.
Yeah.
That team is in need of a shakeup. Number 4, Josh.
The Bengals are on my list, but they're not number 4. They're higher.
Wow.
The Bears are my number 4 team because the Bears...
Beat the Steelers.
They just won.
Yeah, but it was at home, and the Steelers played poorly. And this team, they should have beaten the Falcons. They choked that game away, too. This team is just so weird. I feel like they are on the cusp of going on like an 8-game losing streak. Because they're going to get overconfident. They're going to get destroyed by the Packers this week. They're going to be so we beat the Steelers. You're going to lose 8 games in a row. Your coach is going to get fired because you all got cocky. Because guess what? You beat a team that was in disarray.
Well, at least you'll get to watch Mr. Trubisky. Your boy.
If he survives.
All right, my next team is the Chargers. Listen, you're 0-3. You've lost in the worst way possible the first 2 weeks. You had a chance in a divisional game. It has been embarrassing. Phillip Rivers threw 3 interceptions in the first half. I'm sorry, Chargers, you're my number 4 team.
It's interesting that the Chargers have not won yet they haven't made my Ugly Five. I've got the Colts at number 4. They did win this week, by the way. They did beat the Browns.
Yeah.
They were they were a home underdog against the Browns. That essentially means that Vegas believes you are the worst team, maybe in modern creation. You were a home dog to the Browns. They did win the game, though. I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get you out of the Ugly Five. Number 3, I've got the Jets. They won this week. So they were in the top spot for me last week because they were trying to lose. The team that's trying to lose actually beat a team that made the playoffs last year. It really shows you how small the margin of talent is in this league, that the Jets beat a team that made the playoffs last year. So for that, they go from 1 down to 3.
My 3rd team is the Bengals. They had one of the most embarrassing collapsing. That was their season last week, in my opinion. You were up at home against an Aaron Rodgers-led team. You're trying to get your season back on track, and you choke. Your quarterback stinks. Your coach is a sitting duck. It's time for change in Cincinnati. It's over.
You guys like the Bengals less than I do.
Yeah, Bengals are my number 3 ugly team as well. So they to me, number 1 is the worst team. 3, you're getting close, and the Bengals are getting pretty darn close.
It bothers my girlfriend when I pick on the Bengals, so I'm all in for it.
Let's go number 2. Who do you got?
Number 2, I got the Giants. You're 0-3. You're 0-2 in the division. Odell Beckham is the best thing you got going, and his head isn't on straight. Ben McAdoo, I don't know. They bought him in to increase the offense. The offense stinks. Eli Manning looks old. The Giants are on their way down, and there could be changes at the end of the season. Giants, you're my number 2 team.
49ers are my number 2 team. 1 week they play bad defense. Next week they play good defense. Next week they play bad defense. And then vice versa with the offense. Good, bad, good, bad. this team is so inconsistent they can't figure out what their offense or their team is.
San Francisco stinks. They're the second worst team in the league. And number 1 is Cleveland.
Browns.
Browns, yeah. I mean, you're 1-17 in your last 18 games.
And you can't beat the Colts.
Yeah, you were a favorite finally. It didn't go so well for them.
Messed it up.
Although I will laugh if they beat the Bengals this week.
You had one job,
Wouldn't be
Cleveland.
surprised. By the way, that division, every team's on a losing streak. The Browns and Bengals are both on 3-game losing skids, and Baltimore and Pittsburgh are both on 1-game losing skids. All right, these are the 5 best teams. Who's your number 5?
Oh, it's me first. I dropped the Raiders to my number 5 team. They were my number 1 last week. They played so poorly against the Redskins. But I still have some faith. I still have faith that this team is a good team and that every team, nobody can win them all. So I'll put them at 5.
My number 5 team is the Philadelphia Eagles.
We just went over this, and you didn't put them in the 5.
I didn't put them in the top 5 power rankings in the NFL. I don't think they're the 5th best team, but I think right now they're playing at the 5th best level. They're 2-0 in their division. They played the Chiefs tough. Eagles, you're going to get some love from me early. Don't mess it up, please. You're my number 5 team. Fly, Eagles, fly.
How about that? I went with Tennessee this week. I was really impressed by them winning a home game against Seattle. No, they scored 38 points against Seattle.
That was the most rushing yards any team has put on a Pete Carroll team.
You put that many points on a Seattle defense, you open my eyes up. I like the quarterback. I like their offensive line. I like their running game. I like their defense. Tennessee, number 5 in the fine 5.
I like it.
Number 4, I went with them last week at 4. I'm sticking with the Dallas Cowboys. Tough running game, but I like the quarterback, man. He showed up on Monday night. I like the quarterback entering the year. I did have questions. Those questions are getting answered, and that kid's pretty darn good.
Okay. My number 4 team is the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers does it again. He takes the heart of another struggling team. Listen, this guy is incredible. That defense is getting better, and he's still the gunslinger. Packers at number 4.
Packers are just missing out on my list. My number 4 team is the Titans. Look at all what they're doing. I mean, look at who they're beating. Look how they're handling people. Listen, that offensive line is really good, and I got to give them credit. I mean, the way they handled the Seahawks, you got to give the guys some credit. Mariota's playing great. I mean, how about Rashard Matthews, too? I mean, that guy, no one talks about him.
And here I thought I was going out on a limb putting Tennessee in the top 5 there. All right, number 3, I got New England. I mean, steady as it goes. Defense has not been as good, though. Their defense does have some issues. But as this season gets on, they'll figure that out, and you're not going to stop them scoring-wise. I mean, they've lost a lot of bodies on offense, and they're still almost, I believe they have the most points in the league, 99. Only the Rams have more at 107.
Yeah, the Patriots are my number 3 team as well, so for the same reasons.
Patriots are also my number 3 team. Listen, Deshaun Watson was running all over that defense, looking like a baby Vic out there. That's what they're calling him on Twitter. But Tom Brady is still the best quarterback in the league. That throw to Brandon Cooks, I mean, oh my God. That guy at 40 is still the National Football League's MVP, in my opinion, right now.
I got Atlanta at number 2. I can't believe I do it, but they've been impressive. They won on the road, although they really shouldn't have. They got robbed in that game, but they did go to Detroit. They get credit for the win, and I'll give them credit by putting them at number 2 in my fine 5.
I've got the Falcons also at number 2. You're 3-0. 3-0 is 3-0. I don't care how you won, who you beat. You're 3-0 in the National Football League. Every game's a tough game. Devontae Freeman looks great. Julio Jones is still Julio Jones. The Falcons are the best team in the NFC, and they're my number 2 team.
I know where you guys are going with number 1, so I'm just going to tell you right now, they're my number 2. The Chiefs are number 2 because that Eagles game was a lot closer than it should have been. The Chargers still had a chance to beat you.
What's the deal with you and the Chiefs? You don't give the Chiefs any respect the last 2 weeks. You won't put them at 1. What they got to do?
He did flip them with the Raiders in the who's in, who's out yesterday.
I wasn't here.
Give him credit for that.
Thank you, Mike.
Chiefs are number 1. They run the ball. They got weapons. They play very good defense. They went on the road and won. They went on the road twice so far this year and won. They won in New England. They traveled across the country and won. They beat a pretty good Eagles team at home. I mean, I don't know right now where I can find a better team. I mean, I can't put New England ahead of them. And I think if Kansas City and Atlanta play against each other on a neutral field, I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City's my number one team too. It's typical Andy Reid. He's just mowing along, winning regular season games. I think this is the year where he has his best chance since that Eagles season to get to the Super Bowl.
Like typical Andy Reid, he's also a great regular season coach, not as great in the playoffs.
Is this a 13-3 Chiefs team that disappoints in the playoffs? Or do
I
they
say
finally
yes.
have that feeling of they're more than just the division winner that makes it to the second
Well,
round?
it depends on
I
how
feel
far
like-
the maturation of Alex Smith is. I mean, if Alex Smith continues to throw the ball downfield and Kareem Hunt gets only better throughout the season, this is a team that you can say, listen, they are the favorite in the AFC, especially with home field advantage.
Look, until the Chiefs make a Super Bowl, I don't care. Because guess what? They're the Atlanta Braves. At this
I'm starting to think you got
they're
something
a
against
great
the Chiefs.
they're a great regular season team. The Falcons are my number one team. They've at least made it to the Super Bowl, and they're a better team than they were last year.
should.
Chiefs and Braves. I see what you did there.